I have been home for a month from this trip, and I think I'm in a similar situation that a lot of people find themselves in. You know, this is my profession, photography, film, but I went on a personal trip, so now there's no deadline to when I need to edit these photos and videos. So they've just kind of sat on the back burner. And the ones that I know I should edit, the thing that I'm telling everybody about whenever they ask how my trip was this 4-day bike tour that I did in Vietnam. Now, I'm sitting on 5,578 photos right now. They haven't been touched yet, and it's driving me crazy thinking that. And I want some of them because I want to post them and I want to edit them in the most beautiful way possible. I want some just to kind of guide the story as I'm telling people about different situations. And I want some just to send to people that I was on the trip with, because naturally I was snapping photos of them throughout the trip as well. So right now we're going through it all. As you've seen me edit sports photos, this is going to be similar, but these are travel photos, totally different editing style, but we're going to sort through them and we are going to edit them, going through 5,578 photos. Yeah, you heard that number right. Now we are in Lightroom, and how we're going to do this is 5-star photos are ones that I know I'm going to want to dive in and really give in-depth edits. 4-star photos are the ones that I'm going to like, but edit a little bit and still kind of they're going to guide the story for me. And 3s are going to be the photos that are of specific people, and I just want to give them to those people. So those will be the least in-depth edits. Going through them to start, and I bet you will see me give a lot more photos 5s at the beginning than I will at the end. As I go through these, one thing to note is that a lot of them are street photography style photos, and I really am curious to see how many are in focus, how many aren't in focus. Like something like this just guides the story. You're seeing a bunch of cows walk through the streets of a town. Like, I want to show somebody that photo. It's not the most amazing photo in the world, but I want to have it just for myself. Ones like these, I'll never use that. Actually does absolutely nothing for the story of what the trip was. Something like these cave shots. These are shots I just want to show my parents, show them what we did. Not really going to be used on my Instagram or anything. This one, it's going to be great. So that's a 5. And a lot of these photos, I'm going to be playing around with cropping. So something like this, how much can I bring that sky back and how much can I crop in without losing the quality of the mom and the kid? So this one will get a 4. We'll play around with it once we get into the editing portion. But like a lot of them are going to be like, how can I edit them? How much can I bring back? And something that you'll see me do is incorporate HDR editing, which is a new feature that Lightroom rolled out, which allows you to be able to even everything out to start your edit and then pretty much start from there. This one is unbelievable. I mean, I love the red bike popping with the green trees and the green weeds. Like, that is gorgeous. That's an easy 5. Wish this one was in focus. It's not. I'm still going to give it a 4 because I'm not mad that it's not in focus all that much. And I still think I could do something cool with it. That right there is a banger. Lots of street photography. You see me just kind of flying through them. This is the first pass of the photos, so I really just want to narrow it down. Even if I still mark 2,000 of them, we're in a better spot than we started at. And something to know is that a lot of the edits are going to be edit one and copy it onto the next few photos. You're not going to be editing every single photo unless you want to be sitting here for 20 hours straight. I'm going to edit a few that are really in depth, select the sky, select the subjects, and then really just copy that throughout the rest of the photos. Hopefully I can bring that sky back there. I'll grade 2 of those 5 and really end up just picking one or the other. If I decide to pick both, well then I'll be able to copy one edit over to the other one. Really like this one of the bike just sitting there. The mountains were just gorgeous. As you see, got darker throughout the day. So these ones will be different edits from, there we go, 3. Just a casual fire on the side of the road. I'm going to grade both of these 4s. That one looks like it's a little soft. That one looks like it's a little sharper. Now these nighttime ones, I might grade a couple of them just, like I said, for storytelling purposes for me to have, but I'm not really going to use them. Now we're on to day 2. Oh man, I love these so much. That's such a good portrait. One thing, as you're flying through them, you probably won't grade all of them perfectly like you want to. It is what it is. You'll figure that out once you sort them out. And yes, I will show you how to sort them out. But just cook through them and get through this first pass, because for me, this is where the most friction lies, is sorting through the 5,000 photos. It's a lot, and it takes a lot of time. Just a casual animal sitting on the table there. Maybe it's a pig. Love this one, how they're in the same outfit. That could be a really, really nice photo once edited. Look at the kids just on the side of the road, like something like this, man. These are the photos that I love when I see people take. And the fact that I took them with my own camera is a really cool feeling, because I've never been in a place like this with this much culture. As you're seeing over and over again, there's a lot of photos that look similar to one another. We're only 750 photos in right now, so that is going to be the case throughout. But by no means am I mad about that, because I do think that having this many photos is going to result in some kind of versatility whenever I post a carousel or something of that nature. And they're not all going to look the same, because naturally we were in different places. We were in different spots where everything will end up standing out then eventually. These ones are unreal. This windy road. I mean, you guys might have seen the video of this. This is one of my favorite photos that I've ever taken in my life. That is unbelievable. Just playing the flute or whatever that is necessarily called with the windy road in the background. Man, there's just a story in that photo. And the story is really what I look for whenever I'm photographing. It's not about just beautiful one-off photos. It's about having a story that you can tell, and maybe one day making a photo book of some sort, which would be cool. That's just a random police officer. Same thing there. Those are out of focus, but we'll see what we can do. Obviously not put them in focus, but maybe run with the fact that they're out of focus and make them like a film style. We'll see. Sometimes some of my favorite photos I see are out of focus, which is weird. There's this whole trend going on, especially in wedding photography, where people are asking for out of focus photos, which is a crazy thing. But I kind of see what they're looking for. It's this nice nostalgic feeling. So if I can edit these in a way of building that nostalgia and not making it feel fake, then maybe I did a good job. I mean, look at these little kids. They're so stinking cute. That's so adorable. I love these shots of just people on bikes. There's some kind of emotion that you get, and especially in this part of the world, you can't get these photos in Chicago where I live. It's genuinely not possible. And being around different cultures and just with a camera, it's when would you see somebody dragging a tree on the side of the road like that casually? Never. And so as a photographer, I mean, that is just, it's so cool and it's so unique, and that's their life. That's what they do. Oh my goodness. That is the cutest photo I've ever seen. I can't wait to post some of these. I can't wait to tear through these and edit them. These wide landscape ones are weird because some of them have a focal point, but in the landscapes, you don't always have the leading lines or some kind of element to tell you what you're looking at. So that's why I'm not grading a lot of those. I'm going to be much pickier. With those ones. This right here is a egg coffee that I got. It was pretty much tiramisu. I mean, it was a straight up dessert, but it was really, really good. This one could be edited to have some nice leading lines, so we'll grade that a 4. That's holding his shoes, just like with the look of confusion on his face, like so good. I have a feeling for a lot of these ones of people, I'm gonna be able to make a preset and really just use that preset to dump on all of those. So there might be a time where I go through and regrade all of those to 2 stars, all the people walking and all the portraits of people to 2 stars. So then I can just copy and paste my same preset onto all of those. These landscapes were just unreal. A lot of 3s while we're actually driving, just because taking pictures of the people that are in front of me, in the back of me. Do wish you could hit 3 again and then it canceled it out. It's kind of an annoying thing. I mean, look at this family right here. There's 4 of them, 3 of them, sitting on this bike. Like that's crazy. Just casually a mule walking on the side of the road. No big deal. His picture just makes me laugh. Like, I don't even know what's going on here. It's like, what? What? This was a cool little spot whenever we were driving up to a viewpoint right after we went to the Chinese border. And definitely the first batch of roads that I saw, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I could drive this. And I'm just happy I had somebody else driving me. All right, we are not quite halfway there, but we're making progress. We're at 1,700 photos right now. So many of the photos are just a little bit soft. Drives me a little crazy, but I just couldn't focus on having them like tack sharp all the time. And I'm not going to lie, as I'm going through these, my mind's starting to fade a little bit. It's just hard on your eyes to just rip through photos like this, looking at a computer. Just tearing through them, looking at the same thing virtually over and over again. I do really like riding through these towns. Once again, it's just a unique perspective that you pretty much never see anything like it. I have no idea where this one was, but I really like this photo. If it was just standing on the side of the road, yeah, it wouldn't be great, but something about the colors, I think I'll be able to do something really cool up here, pop those pinks, blues, yellows, all of it, while still making it kind of a moody look. Yeah, we'll give that a 5. Love that photo. Now this one, you see this body of water down here. This is where I'm going to just abuse the 45 megapixels of the R5. I don't see why not. I can crop in as much as I really want and not lose any data. Oh, I wish that one was sharp. Just a random hole in the side of the cliff. Look at how sharp that is. If every single one of these photos could be that sharp, man, my photos would just be ridiculous. For some reason, all these look extra sharp. I'm curious what the settings were. So I had my shutter at 1600th of a second. Guess whenever you're riding on a bike, it makes it a little bit more doable to make them extra sharp whenever you keep it that high. But then as you see, my ISO was at 1000. So you got to pick and choose things. This was a cool little spot where you could hang over the side of the cliff. I personally did not do that because it was scary. I was a little terrified. And also being in a different country. Amberly did it. I told her I would take the photos of her, but that's not for me. I don't want to do that stuff. This photo right here, I think, is going to be one of my favorite photos once I edit it. Look at those leading lines. Just your eye will clearly be guided across the frame like that. I just think that's going to be a really nice photo to have once I actually go through and edit it. This was just like one of the most beautiful viewpoints that we saw throughout the entire trip. It was this long trail leading to that ledge and just the rolling mountains at sunset. Something about it was just like breathtaking. And it was one of many moments whenever you're riding and just like confused of how beautiful something is. And I've never seen anything like it in my life. But at the same time, I think I was told, this could be totally wrong, but I was told that this road that we were riding on accounted for the most deaths out of any road in Vietnam each year. So I'm still sitting here. I'm still alive. I'm all right. But I was a little scared going down it. Very windy. It ended up having guardrails on it for the most part. I'm sure they've installed those over the years. But yeah, it definitely gives you a little woozy feeling whenever you're going through. Now, if you're getting bored of seeing me click through all these, I totally get it. Go ahead. I have chapters in this video, so you can fast forward to where I edit the photos. I personally know sometimes I like seeing people go through each thing. I want to see, what it's actually like. This is me and my driver. Nice little photo there. Can't be mad at that. He was a good guy. But I like seeing the little moments, and I like whenever the photographers I follow will go through in just a really raw fashion of like, this is how long it takes. Yes, it sucks sometimes, but I like seeing it. But if you're getting bored, go ahead and fast forward. Look at the kid holding his little brother, little sister. That's so stinking cute. There's so many moments like that I was just like, man, yeah, it just puts everything in perspective. They're so young, walking down the side of the road. It was really a cool thing to see. So now we're getting to the boat ride that we went on. This is where the photos will have a good amount of variety, and that is really a great thing because, like I mentioned before, a lot of these end up looking pretty dang similar, and I don't want them to all look the same, but doing something like this makes it like, okay, we can have variety. These will be closer to even like my Banff photos that I took with that blue water, the green grass. Just trying to find unique things about it. back on the bikes now. As you see, I'm definitely being more selective now than I was before. That just is naturally happening because I don't want to have the same photo over and over again. But just really ripping through them. Oh my goodness. I didn't even see this whenever we were riding. Those were pigs. Jeez. I had no idea that was there. That's weird. Oh, just keep moving. Isn't that crazy? We're in the mountains of Vietnam. Also had perfect cell reception, but this little girl is still just on a phone, and it's really no different than how it is here. You would expect it to be pretty different, but the fact that I had reception pretty much the entire time throughout these mountains is pretty mind-blowing. Love this shot of this kid just sitting there. Obviously, I'll crop it and straighten it out. But those colors, the kid just sitting there, some nice tones. This one with the dog, the kid, the bike, definitely will want to edit that one a lot. We're actually going to give those both 5 stars. Love this contrast of the red. Now, once again, just riding through these towns was a really cool thing. This little kid riding his bike. So many small moments that end up being something that, I don't know, I'm just fascinated by, and seeing these little towns. And I said it a million times, but I just, I don't know, I really liked it. This day was absolutely brutal. I'm not going to lie. You see these gravel roads. It was so dusty. My Canon R5, I think, is permanently dusty from this day. We're wearing masks so we didn't have to breathe in the dust. You'll see photos of some people with like ponchos on and stuff. My butt hurt so bad after this day. Like, just powering through, sitting on the back of a bike. You're just bouncing up and down for like 4 hours straight at a time. Not 4 hours, an exaggeration. An hour straight, and then you take a little break, and then you keep going. But man, it was, it hurt. I was in a lot of pain during this day. Still just the gravel roads, no guardrails. Definitely one of the sketchier days that we had. So now I'm seeing myself grade a lot more 4s than 5s. I'm trying to be pretty picky about the 5s that I give because I don't want to really go too in depth with a lot of the edits. Sometimes I feel like it does more harm than good to go really in depth with the edits. But I do know a couple of times that I'll want to grade 5s with these like amazing viewpoints. I think actually later this day was one of the most amazing viewpoints we saw. We were just cruising and we got to the top of this mountain, and I'll point it out once we get there, but it was just unreal. Oh, that's a cute photo. Oh, I love this one. I'll be able to crop that one in a good amount, but having the kid and the mom, it's a nice frame. Oh, it's so good. So good. Look at that. I mean, it's dark, so I'll be able to brighten it up, but that's a nice shot right there. We're going to give that a 5. So now, as we go through these, let me explain how the heck I got a lot of these photos. So, long story short, when I was in Singapore, I was really frustrated that I wasn't taking my camera anywhere. And I wasn't taking it anywhere for a few different reasons, but the main reason was because of how bulky it was. And I hate carrying around my big 24-70 with the R5 all the time. And I wasn't necessarily happy with all the photos that I was getting from the point and shoot. And so as I went through, I really just needed to buy a new lens. I realized that I needed to, and I needed something different. So I considered buying a Sony camera. I considered buying a different lens, and I ended up buying the 28 millimeter f2.8 lens from Canon. And this lens is a really amazing lens, and so that is what all of these were. And it was really just me on a bike, on the back of the bike with the camera in my hand, just spraying as we would go past things. It would be grrrup, grrrup, and that's how you end up with 5,500 photos at the end of the day. But just spraying, getting some video, some photo. But for these, it was really just a lot of photo of like, oh, beautiful mountain. Oh, look, that's nice with the person in the foreground. Oh, kids walking on the side of the road. Just really spraying every opportunity that I had. These are hilarious. Just random goats on the side of the road. It's just so confusing. Oh, I remember seeing this one. That one is so good. 5. No, I probably will go through a lot of the ones that I graded 4s. I'll end up editing them like it's a 5, but it's really just a first impression right now. And this is really kind of sparking the memories back while I'm looking through all these. All right, we just hit the 4,100 mark. I'm getting tired, man. We still got to edit all these things. That's a great photo. Having those different foreground, midground, background elements really help to make a great photo. That is the most hilarious picture I've ever seen in my life. I love these whenever they were reaching out to the camera. We're actually going to grade that one a 4. We could go for the nostalgia kind of thing there. Now this is the unreal view that I was talking about. This is before we got to the platform. Now this is when we got there. Got the foreground of the fence, got the town in the midground, obviously the mountains in the background. I mean, this view was one of the most breathtaking views I've ever seen in my life. And one thing we're going to do here is I'll just grade both of these 5s, but I know we're going to merge both of those and we can make kind of like a panoramic style photo. I'm going to grade a bunch of these 5s because I know I want to actually use them for something. Who knows what, but maybe it's just to have. But I know I want to edit at least one of those beautifully in like the best of my ability. More cows. Oh, I love that photo. That's so good. That's so good. We're giving both of those 5s. Now it's starting to get darker, as you can see. So I'll probably make like a dark preset, and then I'll make a brighter one. Whew. You know, just the goats at sunset. Just LeBron James at sunset. We'll give that a 5, actually. Now we're headed to the waterfall. This is the last day. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. I think between going through these and editing them, I'm going to... Oh, that photo's so good. Oh, my gosh. Between going through all these and editing them, I'm going to have to at least get something to eat. I'm getting exhausted just looking at the screen like this. That's such a random photo, but I kind of love it. It looks like it could be an album cover. Look at how muddy that cow is. Is even Essentials shirt on? No, I don't think so. That'd be hilarious. He has a Fear of God Essential shirts on. That's a great photo. Just love how vibrant the colors are there. Whenever the sun comes out versus whenever it was a little more gloomy, that's where the preset is probably going to struggle, because we'll make the preset for one or the other, and it won't really work. Like a sunny day preset won't work as well with the gloomy day photos, but I think we'll probably just have to make some minor adjustments with those. I love these. So this just getting a haircut on the side of the road. It's so crazy. We'll just have to make minor adjustments to the presets, and I'll probably make multiple presets that are pretty similar to one another to maintain a style. Just this little kid picking his nose. It's so random. Look, he's just talking on the phone, closing deals. Almost there. 500 more to go. A lot of fours. I'll probably have more fours than threes and fives. So I'll have to sort through those and figure out which I want to edit. This was a really random spot. Didn't look like anywhere else that we were. It was really flat. Just kind of this open land. There was water going down the middle. It was a really beautiful spot, but it really just caught me off guard. Now we're slowly getting to the point that I'm really looking forward to editing the photos from, and a good story point for me to tell you, really, too. So the last day of this trip, we were tired. Everybody was tired. You're exhausted. You've been sitting on a bike for 4 days. I can only imagine how the drivers are feeling, but they took us to this town, and the town that they took us to had this clothing making, just you can say factory, but it was by no means a factory. And it was just these older ladies who were there doing all different kinds of the process of making clothing. And it was a really amazing thing to see, just these ladies going at it. I mean, this one right here, she walked in, she was 94 years old, I believe they said. And I mean, look at her fingers. She's probably been doing this for so long. And you just see the different parts of the process. My driver was actually from this town, which is pretty cool to hear. And then I ended up buying a gift for my grandma. Now, when I bought the gift, I was like, okay, this would be a cool thing to have, but it's missing the story. And it's not going to mean as much to her to get these coasters from this fabric making shop as it will be if I capture what it actually was. And my nunny wasn't there, so she doesn't have that much of a connection with it. But I asked this lady if I could take a photo of her, and I am really happy that I did that, because it's a weird thing to ask. Like I said before, it's a hard thing to ask somebody to just randomly take a photo of them. But after I took the photo and after I bought everything, I was just like, after I bought the things that I bought, I felt comfortable asking, because I knew she would be okay with it, because I just spent some money. And she went around, she straightened up every piece of fabric on the wall, She straightened everything up on the tables, and then she posed for me, just like this. And this photo, once it's edited, is probably going to go down as one of my most memorable photos I've ever taken. And it was an example of the times whenever I want to take a portrait of somebody, but it's weird, and it's weird to ask a random person to take a portrait of them. But I did it in this case, and I am unbelievably happy that I did so. Now this was on the home stretch, headed back. Ready to honestly just be done and get off the bike, but still some of the most amazing views I've ever seen. And just like that, we sorted through all of them. I have no idea how long we've been going, but that's the end of the organization part. We graded, let's see, 112 3-stars. So those are of the people that I was on the trip with that I want to send the photos to. 404 stars and 65 5-stars. Now, I'm going to go get something to eat, take a little break, and I'll be back in a little bit to start editing them. So, we're back. Now we're going to start editing. Got some food in me, feeling good. Fresh coffee, fresh water. Let's start editing. So, what we're going to do first here is we are going to go to the 4s. And just to kind of get into the swing of things, we're going to go to one of the portraits of people. And we're going to edit one of those. So right now, I mean, this one's out of focus, so that's not going to be the best one to edit. Let's see. Actually, let's go to the 5s because I know I have a couple like beautiful portraits in there. One that's pretty equally exposed. This one might be pretty good. All right, so let's do this one. First things first, we're going to actually go ahead and try out this HDR. Whenever you click on HDR, sometimes it fixes it, sometimes it doesn't. This one isn't feel like fixing it. So click on auto, see what it does. Sometimes I like to click on auto just to get a base to see like where I'm going to start with the edit. So auto will just give you those simple equal out edits. Drop it. And actually looking at this is not going to be our base because the sky is gone. So let's reset. Sorry to waste your time there. Okay, this is the one that we're going to start with because I really want to dive in and edit this photo. So let's click on HDR. Can it get it? No. I'm not sure why this is happening. Currently unavailable areas are brighter than, okay. So that means I have some things that are blown out, I would assume. So drop the highlights, drop the whites, bring out the shadows, bring out the blacks, kind of evening it out, drop down the exposure, contrast. Can mess with it, bring it back up. Gonna warm it up a little bit just for that stylistic look. I do think I'm gonna keep the greens kind of that warmer, lower luminance tone. But we're just making general corrections to start. Mess with the curves. Want to make sure we don't lose these mountains in the background. Already we see the before and after. We're going to drop that luminance in the greens. We're going to go to saturation of the greens. We're going to drop that. Then we're going to go hue of the greens. Warm them up just a little bit. Not too much though. Brighten up the oranges, the yellows. That'll be a lot of the skin tones. Add some saturation to those. Thinking we desaturate the blues overall. There's not much in this photo, but we're gonna also go to the aquas, and you see them in this picture frame right here, or picture frame, flower pot right there. Change that so it's closer to a green so that the greens will match up, especially in these mountainsides. Shift the yellows to orange a little bit. We're going to desaturate some of the reds. Change those reds to be more red and not pink. Mess with the luminance. I like it dropped. These are going to be moodier photos. I don't think these are meant to be super vibrant. That's not the vibe that I get from, this kind of place that we're at. I want moodier tones. I want it to feel kind of like you're there. And so I'm going to shift away from the pinks there. Before, you see it's a little pink in the roads. After, that fixes that. So that's the midtones. Shadows, I like to go in extremes and see which ones I tend to like. Shadows, I'll probably go with warmer tones. So you can go with very subtle changes. And now, thinking with the highlights, I'm going to go kind of between a yellow and a green. We're already getting that kind of warmer tones look. And I'm going to start cropping now, where you see rule of thirds here perfectly, actually. Subject right here, you got something to look at over there. And then the background is also dynamic. I mean, your eye just wants to move all around this photo, which in my opinion is a good thing. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to start isolating subjects, and this is going to be our portrait kind of preset. So this is all about the subject here. Shadows up, highlights up, maybe a little saturation. Warm it up. Perfect. Now let's duplicate and invert that mask. So now we're all on the background. And I like the darkness of it. I like bringing the shadows up, dropping the blacks. I mean, right here, I feel good about this photo. I know it's a darker photo, but I feel like it's the vibe that I'm going to be going for a lot of these photos. Cool. I like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to presets, click this plus, create preset. And this one is going to be called Portraits Vietnam. I'm going to go ahead and make a new group called Southeast Asia. We are going to add the mask to it. So I'm going to make a Portraits Vietnam with mask. Create, and then I'm going to make one more, create preset, uncheck that. Portraits Vietnam, no mask. Okay. So now we're good. We have one of each. We're going to go ahead and make that green. So click 8 to make it green, a little shortcut. Now let's go to similar photos, see if we can do anything. And keep in mind, this is just for the portraits right now. So we'll minimize all of these. These are all my other presets that I just make for myself. Click that drop down on this. And right here with the mask, we can make some minor adjustments, and it's really the same vibe. We want it to be warm. I wish there was a better word than vibe to use in this scenario. Sometimes there's not. But I really like the tones of that. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to crop it. I think I like not seeing that tire in the front. So we can crop it more there. And that's a pretty powerful photo right there. I really like it. Once again, click 8. And now we are in all of the 5s right now. So we're going to go through and we are going to start to edit these different portraits that are in the 5s. Once again, darker tones. Mess with different compositions in post. We can crop in a bunch. You go the other way. I think I like this. Perfect. Let's go back to the beginning to some of the portraits. So this is the one that we were messing around with earlier that we decided not to. Let's see it with our no mask and with mask. I like it with the mask because I think we darken it a little bit more, give it a little punch of contrast, but once again, we get those warmer tones. I'm going to try and perfectly center him up. And this one just evokes a lot of emotion, in my opinion. I mean, lighten up the background a little bit, but just these warmer tones are really going to be the mood that I like in this case. Any other portraits? We got this little boy on the bike. Oh man, this photo is just gorgeous. I think I'm actually going to go over and I'm going to mess with the saturation of the greens and really bring down those greens. Drop that luminance of those. Maybe change the hue a little bit to warm them up. Pop those reds. Nice little simple composition there. I do like that photo. Just like that. As you see, I'm using it with the masks a lot right now. There might be cases where I go in and adjust the masks manually, so I would just go up here and click on the corresponding mask, but I haven't found the need to do that quite yet. I'm really just liking the simple nature of these edits. You know, what I'm actually going to do, and I'll go in and I'll adjust my preset, but let's go to the original one that we edited. Which one was it? This one. And we'll go here. We'll go to one of the masks. So we'll go to the background mask. And if you've seen my NFL photos that I edit, I like to drop the clarity and the dehaze. So we'll do that, and then we'll crush the shadows a little bit, maybe drop the texture. And this is just in the background now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this Portraits Vietnam with masks, and I'm going to say Update with current settings. Make sure masking is checked, and then we are good. We'll go to the other photos that we've made our adjustments with so far, and we'll see if we like it with the dropped clarity or not. That one, I don't think so. This one, obviously we'll have to brighten it up. I think I do like it with that softer look. And now let's go through and try and edit a few more. I mean, just look at how much that just brought back. I like it crooked though, with this kid in the foreground. We'll go to his mask because it should select the subject pretty easily. Let's also see how much we can drop that background and get that data back. I think all that this is missing is just a little extra punch in that contrast. I think it might actually just be as simple as that. Yeah, just adding some contrast, maybe even cropping in a little bit more. I mean, I think that photo is powerful. It's a little blurry, it just looks like a video frame, but I really like it. So we'll continue going through the 5s. Not crazy about that one now that I'm seeing it again. You'll see there's a lot of photos that I'll just pass by, and I liked them at first, but then I see them again, and you know, it's just not what they were. I actually think I'm gonna go here. If you click on the one with the masks and then click on the one with no masks, make sure you go back and delete the masks because it'll keep them there. Kind of like it. We'll have it just have. Now let's go through the ones with the people again. I mean, with masks here, it's just unreal. Look at that photo. It's powerful. It's good. I'm happy with it just like it is. And I mean, I'm not selling this preset, but you guys literally just saw how I made it. So feel free, go ahead, follow along by yourself, make that exact preset, and put it on your photos. You might have to make some minor adjustments similar to what I'm doing in every photo now, but you can make that preset, and you just have to go through and make the exact same adjustments that I'm making every time. That photo, I'm really pumped about it. It's going through. I'm gonna darken this one quite a bit. Really gonna crop this one. I think these ones will probably have different edits that I'll have to make independently. So we'll reset that and hold off on it for now. But I think that's all of the portraits that I want to edit for these 5s. This one actually, what a unique, this looks like I shot it on film. Let's get a little green tint, a little contrast. I think I actually like them just centered up. This one will probably work perfectly, just like that. Those warm, moody tones, exactly what I was looking for this photo. I like him being on the outside of the frame, not the inside. I like him walking out of frame. Alright, so this one's a nighttime one. I am going to want to warm it up a little bit extra. I'm going to go to that background because I don't want her to be too warm. Warm that up. Maybe give it a little dehaze back to bring that sky back. Let's actually go ahead, create a mask, select sky. Just make it darker overall, warm it up, give it some dehaze. Now I think that photo is ready to go, besides a little bit of cropping. Use cropping to your advantage. I cannot stress that enough. It will transform your photos, and I don't want you to think that you have to be a stickler about it and not use the 45 megapixels and it has to be perfect right out of camera, because frankly that's not the case. Use it to your advantage. It's meant for that. You want to be able to go and make the composition after the fact, especially when you're in a case like this where you're not perfectly framing up every single shot you get. Now we're going to 4, and this, it'll have some portraits, not all of them, but we'll go here. I like it. These are simple edits. I don't want to go too crazy. I don't like whenever photos are too crazily edited. Personal preference. So now the nice thing about us grading these in 3, 4, and 5 stars and then going through and grading them green after the fact is then we can separate the stars and we don't have to ever go and change the stars and rearrange them if I want to come back at a later date. Instead, we can then not sort by stars at all and only sort by colors, so then all the green ones will be there in one place for me to export when I want to export. It's kind of it's a nice way of sorting them out because I've always used one or the other, especially whenever I was starting out. But now that I came up with this sequence, I like to use the stars to narrow down and then go through and use the colors separately. So you don't have to necessarily pick one or the other or rearrange everything after you're done. Now we're just looking at the bottom here, messing with the different portrait shots. This one I might go and like see what we're working with whenever we add a lot of grain. I think I like adding the grain there, and I might actually, since we already have one of him on the bike, I might go with a more unique composition here. Just playing around with different things. Too much grain. I think I do kind of like that. Not the best photo I've ever taken. It's a little too blurry, a little too stylistic, but I do like it. I feel like I need to sharpen the foreground a little bit in all of these. They're looking a little too soft, in my opinion. That probably has something to do with me dropping the clarity on a lot of them. So I'm just not I'm not even going to grade that one because I'm not happy with how soft it is. And as you see, I'm really just going and making minimal brightening adjustments to the preset in about every photo. Going ahead, creating compositions out of the photos. I'm going to go and grab the selection of him, sharpen the foreground up a little bit. And the preset's really doing the heavy lifting here. I made the one preset. In a little bit, I'll go ahead and I'll make a preset for how I want the photos from like the landscape photos to work. That one might not be as run by a preset, and we'll have to do specific selections beside the preset. But for the most part, it's gonna have it dialed in to where we want the tones to be. There's even a chance that we use the no mask preset from the portraits as a starting point for the different landscapes. Wish this one was in focus. That would be so amazing. Now I think the subject might be a little too orange here. Brighten it up. Crop. No idea who this is, but I just liked the composition here. See, I'm cropping in quite a bit on this one. Playing around with the different compositions per usual. I think that's what we're going to go with there. All right. Copy that over to the next couple, crop and everything. Kind of love this photo. See, this is what happens. This one's graded a 4. I didn't think I was going to love it immediately. Then I go to edit it, and you see everything's exposed pretty evenly, and that might be one of my favorite photos from all of these. Pretty amazing photo right there. And for the preset that has the masks on it, it doesn't always have to be people. In this case, it's the house, and it selects the house perfectly. You don't have to have a perfect person subject in it at all times. Wonder how much I can crop in here. think I'm just going to crop in just enough so you don't see what's on either side of the railroad tie. That's a lot of crop, and I do think I'm going to go ahead, denoise it. Give it a second. Once this comes up, don't go too high. I'll go to 25 since it's not a super grainy photo. The reason I had it at 50 before is because when I was on a job, there were some photos that were shot at 32,000 ISO. They were so grainy, and I had to go in and fix that. So it worked out well if you're curious how that denoise tool works, but 32,000 is too much for any camera on the market, even like the Sony A7S series. Okay, now it's denoised. You see just a little bit sharper, less noise. That's a cool photo. You know, it's just one of those things about being in different cultures. It's a cool photo. See, now for this one, I'm going to Command Z. I'm going to go no masks. Crop it pretty tight so it's just them on covering the entire frame. We cut their legs off. Give the one on the right a little bit of space. Actually, no, we're going to make it more focused on the left kids because they're in focus. Really happy with that. We'll play around with it, see if there's any better frames. Again, whether the better frames are being locked in better focus. Whoops. I didn't realize I wasn't sorting them out anymore. The denoise resets the sorting, so just be wary. Now, if you've gone this far, still got a little while to go, but drop a comment below. Would you want to see a video similar to this about how I edit the videos and color grade the videos and actually go through each of those? Or is this enough? This one feels long to me, if I'm going to be honest. I like the NFL one. I like the sports ones, but this one I kind of challenged myself to not cut it down. So this is raw. This is real. This is a couple hours later, still doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm getting bored of it, if I'm going to be honest. So we're going to be more picky. But the problem is, if I don't edit these photos now, I probably will never go through a lot of them. Okay, so now I am going to cut it down a little bit. Let's go to some of the landscape photos. And so we'll go to the 5s. We'll find a good landscape. We'll check our preset out for that. Really like this photo. I do think one of the early ones like this or this are going to be our best ones. So let's check the no mask. No mask is good, but I do want for the landscapes, I want the colors to pop a little bit more. So let's go to our masks. So for this time, we're going to select sky, and then we're going to duplicate and invert. So one, we have selected the sky, and one, we have selecting the foreground. And so let's go add some saturation here. I do want to cool them down a little bit so they're not quite as warm. Go to the saturation. We'll give it back the greens. Keep the blues away. Give it back the reds for those roofs. Then we're going to go to our sky. Bring back that sky. We're going to give it a little bit of dehaze. Dehaze helps bring that sky back. Add some contrast. Mess with your highlights. Mess with your whites. Don't like it so far at all. I think we need to go in here, bring the shadows up, bring the blacks down. Okay. Now we're cooking. Okay, now we're going to go in and really isolate each of these colors. So grab this little tool right here, and we'll click on that and then adjust a specific color. So right now we're adjusting the roofs of the houses. I want that to pop. Same thing, make sure it's clicked. Go to this little aqua in the house. Good there. Now we're going to go to the leaves. I think we're going to desaturate those a little bit to make everything pop a little more. The yellows we could use a little back, which definitely adjusted the grass as well. And I do think overall we're going to go through and we're going to do a linear gradient that goes up, and then we're going to click on that, subtract linear gradient, and we're going to go up again. So now we only have the houses selected. Mess with the whites, give it some saturation, and now look at those houses starting to pop. A lot of adjusting landscapes is about isolating different parts of the image. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to crop just a little bit, not too much. And now the last thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more linear gradient, bring it up, pretty soft, darken, maybe light. Yeah, I'm going to darken that. But you want it to be like a low contrast darken. if that makes sense. There you go. Direct your eye up to the houses, and then maybe a little brush here where I'll just go across this mountain there. We're going to crush those shadows. Subtract it a little bit from this one so it separates it. Oh, I mean, that looks horrible. Keep that like it is. Mess with the minor adjustments a little more. Play around with your curves. Your curves are going to be one of the most powerful tools in Lightroom whenever you're adjusting landscapes. And cool. I think I like that. It definitely is moody. It definitely still has a little bit of the warm tones that our portraits have, and I am happy with it. Now we're going to go to one more landscape for us to adjust. And I think it's going to be that crazy viewpoint that I pointed out earlier. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that it? No. I know I gave it 5 stars. There it is. Okay, so we started this one 5 and this one 5, and that was with the idea of making it a panorama, or we can just do the vertical. Let's have a little extra data to do the panorama. We're going to right click on it. We're going to go photo, merge, panorama. Give it a second. Mess with the different settings. For me, I think I'm going to go spherical. Seems the most natural. I'm going to merge that, give it a second, and it'll blend the two images together, and it will also equal them out. So it's almost like an HDR auto edit. So it'll already have an edit whenever it spits it out for you to do, what you see right here. Let's go to our Vietnam No Masks preset, and it's a decent starting point. But I mean, we're missing a ton down here, and we need to change that big time. So first thing we're going to do, select sky, and it did not do a good job. Wow, it usually does an amazing job with that. Okay, so let's make some minor adjustments to just bring back that sky manually, because the biggest brush that we're going to be working with here is just right here masking out this valley. And then we're going to give it a lot of saturation, a lot of contrast, and we're going to start to make that area pop a lot more. Now we're going to mess with those curves only down there because we'll be able to give it a lot more contrast. And now what we're going to do is we are going to make a linear gradient that'll be pretty much just on those mountains. And now we want to click on that and subtract with a brush since our sky wasn't working very well. And we're just going to paint out that sky. It doesn't have to be perfect. If there are minor things that we want to do along the edges of the mountain, obviously we can go in and add more mountain or take it out. But overall, the curves are going to be our best friend for these mountains. To really bring back some data there. Not go too far, like that's too far. But you see the idea of how much power they can hold, how much data you're losing. Let's give it some warmth back. I love this so far. Give it some contrast. Drop the blacks. And I think we're already missing some up here, so we might have to do its own brush up there. But we're really trying to add some contrast to those mountains without making it smack you in the face saying, I made a mask here. We don't want that. So we are going to go and we're going to add with the brush, with a smaller brush along the top of those mountains. Okay, now we can go back into that mask, play around with it a little bit. And we're starting to get somewhere. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a crop so it crops just above the highest point of the mountain and down to the lowest point of one of those stakes. So now your eye is drawn here. Let's go ahead and make adjustments to the entire photo to see what it does. Always playing around with it because you don't want your elements of your photo to be uneven. Like in my opinion, if we select background, it should select everything but the fence, which it does not. Masking's not working very well here. So we'll grab, actually, we're going to grab a linear gradient. We're going to go here. Then we'll grab a brush with the add, and we'll just make it pretty big. And we're going to adjust this front end of the photo. And we're going to even it out. And I don't want this front end to be distracting. So we'll drop the clarity, drop the dehaze, really just kind of giving it that contrast back that it had originally. I know it doesn't look great right now, but just be patient with me. Because we're going to go down here to this valley again, we're actually going to add a little bit over in here. So it's the whole valley. Mess with it a little more. Before, after, before, after. You see how much data we have brought back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a linear gradient once again. We're going to select the hazy part of the mountains plus the sky. Right here, we're going to go in and we're going to mess with the dehaze. That's where you bring data back in the sky and in those different misty parts. You can also go in the opposite direction and make it more hazy, but I'm trying to bring that data back. Do not push it too much though. If you do, you want to drop the saturation, you want to drop the contrast to make sure that you're not going too crazy with it. And just like that, I think that photo will match pretty well with that. Would you say so? I mean, I think it's pretty dang close. And I'm happy. Whoa. Okay. And I'm happy with that. It is a weird ratio. So let's crop it to the ratio that it was originally shot in. Winds it up a little bit. And just like that, that I think is going to be the hero photo whenever it comes to landscapes. Now, a lot of the photos moving forward from now that I'll just kind of tear through that will be boring if you want to watch it. So I'm going to exclude it from this video. We'll just be copying and pasting, making minor adjustments. And I don't think there's much to learn there. But anyways, thank you for watching. I know this was a long one. If you learned from this, I'm glad. If you think it's too long, please let me know in the comments. And I appreciate the support recently. I've actually been getting some traction here on YouTube, which is very rewarding. It's a long game. I know it's a long game. I've been playing the long game, so we're here to stay. Let's have some fun. Let's keep learning, and I'm going to keep teaching you guys. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.